entering the main part of this session, and we have two excellent speakers and authors with chapters in the book here with us in this session. It's Yi-Heng Cheng and it's Doreen van Noren. Now we start off with Yi-Heng, who is a member of the Club of Rome and a guest professor at Tongji University in China, who will speak to us about, I hope, at least that's what I'm told, Confucian Bildung, past, present, and future, but also with of course, the strong influences from also Taoism and Buddhism. And that has shaped, let's say, where Bildung stands today in this Chinese form. At least that's how I interpret it. I hope that's fairly correct, and we are honored to have you take the stage, Yi-Heng. Over to you.
Thank you very much. Yeah. So firstly, about my name, Yi-Heng. You know, the Chinese do have every word a meaning. And that is so-called, in German, is Beharrlichkeit führt zum Ziel. So perseverance leads you to the target. That is actually what I was told when, you know, my parents has that kind of expectation for me. And I think the Chinese education, it is about what a human should be. So when Lena told me and asked me to write something about the Confucianism, and when I'm thinking, you can call me Chinese, but I'm not the type of Chinese from nationality as People's Republic of China, but I'm a Chinese of 5,000 years of culture. If you hear that correctly, I was born in Taiwan and educated in Germany and worked for a long time in Shanghai. And currently, actually, I'm in Singapore. So it's very hot. So what I'm trying, when Elena told me that, and immediately I said that, yes, I would do that because I feel that obliged to do it. I can close my eyes. I think I didn't come back to think about that, you know, 2 years ago or 3 years ago when Lena, we met in firstly in Dubrovnik and later in I think it's in Wien or and etc. So it started actually to review what a human being to become a human with all the Chinese background, and what is the difference between Chinese and well, nowadays you call that non-Chinese. It's almost like that. So whatever China is saying, and there is always another saying, it's non-Chinese. And on the other hand, whenever Chinese say something or try to say, wow, look at that. That's not a democracy we want to have. So let's do our own, like socialism with Chinese characteristics. So basically means that we are doing differently. So why are all these coming out with differences? And even when I come back to the education, the word, Chinese have already a very comprehensive education system 200 years ago, up to Qing Dynasty. And because of the Western influence after Opium War and after all this, the riots, etc. So China's door was forced open. And start from then, it's about 150 years ago, China started westernization or globalization, westernization. And this has been since 150 years now. And more in particular, actually, I would say more enforced is in the last, after 1949, when Chiang Kai-shek retrieved from China to Taiwan and the communists took over from the, basically the communists is over or ruled China, and started with the materialism, and it is actually 100% Western. You can say that European, Russian, etc., etc. So basically, all the Chinese or even Chinese-derived places, like you can call that Hong Kong, Macau, Singapore, where you have a majority of Chinese, are all Westernized in the same time, basically. And this has been done since, over 70 years now. And at the end, China did do it in a different aspects very well. If you name the top 10 universities in the world, 2 of them are from China. It's Beijing University and Tsinghua University. But still, will they become the first #1 worldwide? If you count on the, populations and also the excellent people they have or human resources, is there a possibility to become the #1? And this is what China always expected, to have that. And as a, or let's say intellectuals, we say it is impossible. Why not? Because Chinese has been, or let's say academics, has been always not to the Western standard. The Western standard is academy is free, and China is not. China serves for the emperor since 5,000 years, 3,000 years, 2,000 years, 1,000 years. And in the last 700 years, it's worse. Means after Ming Dynasty, the academic even lost their advisory position. The emperor can kill them anytime if they don't like it. That's Ming Dynasty. That's in the around 1300. And after that, everything will have a purpose to serve the emperor. So from that point of view, when we say that 200 years ago, China have already a very comprehensive or complete system, education system. We're talking about humanities system. Basically, China doesn't have the science, education. I would say that education, not in science. And that has been overall overridden in the last about 70 years. Now they are coming back. Actually, Taiwan started when I was a student in the age of around 20. So 50 years ago, Taiwan started revival of the Chinese culture. And nowadays, China has started again. So basically, the word of philosophy and what Einstein said about philosophy and science, and I can use the same word as science and humanity. Basically, science cannot live out humanity. Basically, we have been, followed the westernization path and then do the science for the last 70 years. But we come back and we look around and say that the humanity is necessary and it's a must, and we have to revive it again. So when we revive that, it doesn't mean that we'll go back to the originality. Well, you have to have still the same background and look at what the Confucianism mean, basically, which I have written that in the book, and I'm not going to repeat here because basically it is a kind of, in every Chinese blood. I've talked to everyone, actually, even he's westernized, like Singaporean are very, very much westernized. And still, they have 2 things, which Lena just mentioned. Very interesting when you become an auditor or author, and yet there are 2 things we discuss a lot in the correspondence. We exchange that. The #1, I would just say that what is the difference between that? #1 is yin and yang with 5 elements to have a dynamic balance. And Lena has a difficulty to understand that. Interesting, doesn't mean that you don't know the balance, but there is no such thing as 100%. And that's what Chinese thinking. This is number one. And number two is about the Chinese medicine. The proof which we are used to as medical evidence, this is only existing 200 years. And Chinese has been doing the Chinese medicine for 5,000 years. You know, the whole book about medicine has been completed 500 after Christos already. And it has been proven and proven. It's always related to pandemic protection in a holistic way. And when Lena said that, well, you can't say that way because it is not according to the medical science. True. That is what you have in the last 200 years. And this is what I feel the most challenging and most interesting part for me to do that chapter. Is not what I know, it's what we found the differences in between. And that difference affect actually to a lot of thinkings. And that's I will share with you, and I still find very interesting. I will follow that through, and I'm going to dig out many things from that two basic differences. Thank you very much.